Hey everyone, welcome back to That's Not Bad. I'm Phil, great to have you here today. We've got a bit of a double whammy in the fact we've got Gary Delaney, and I'm always getting requests, every week I'm getting requests from someone, if not more, to say, hey, Gary Delaney, go see more of his material. I've also had in recent times a lot of people saying Mock of the Week is worth checking out, so we've got the best of both worlds here. And I've had two people recommend this in particular. Carmen from Birmingham in the UK. Thank you, Carmen, for your lovely email. It was very nice. And also a big shout out to Dave. And Dave, a big shout out to you because Dave, my new friend, lives in Nairobi in Kenya. And that caught me by surprise because with the channel now you can see stats from what part of the world people are coming from, age, demographics, a whole raft of stuff, and I haven't seen Kenya pop up, but we have a Kenyan, although I get the impression Dave is an expat Brit. Not that matters, I don't care where you're viewing from, it's just great to have you here, mate, so thank you for that. So Carmen and Dave, this is for you. Gary Delaney, looking forward to this, and my understanding, if I'm right, is that Mock the Week is sort of like Whose Line Is It Anyway, a bit of improv, they get a subject and away they go, so I think that's what it is. But let's get into it, no more mucking around. Boom!
Unlikely lines from a war movie.
It is better to die on your feet than live on your knees. Anyway, enough about that Talisa video.
Well, that's gone. That's not a good start because that one's gone right over my head. Clearly, I need a coffee. Okay, please help me with that very first one. Jesus Christ, I better wake up. Here we go.
In the Marines, our motto is, no one gets left behind. Private Cameron, where is your daughter?
Unlikely things to read on a health insurance form.
Are you the only black guy in a horror film? What's your blood type? He can do 50 words a minute, innit, bruv?
Unlikely things to hear in a maternity ward.
Bad news, I'm afraid. He's ginger. Your Highness. No, I do like it, darling. Just not in that colour.
Unlikely things to hear on a property show.
And more information on how to get together a deposit for a house can be found in our free leaflet, When Will Nana Die? We're looking at a well-equipped council house in Hull. Fridge, oven, washing machine. In fact, this is one of the nicest gardens we've seen.
Unlikely things for a sports commentator to say.
Tragedy strikes the Winter Olympics as the ski jumping is accidentally held next to a clay pigeon shoot. And that's an incredible right hook there from Abu Hamza. And Serena Williams remains unseeded for a second year. I can't help thinking that a bit of lippy and a push-up bra...
Bad things...
Oh, that's... Oh, I like that one. I didn't get the reference to, was it Abu Hamza? Someone help me out with that one, but... Oh, my God. Serena Williams, that was brutal. That was excellent.
To say at a job interview.
So I'm just checking. You definitely don't do a CRB check. You've demonstrated a bad attitude, an inability to listen, and a complete lack of interest in others. Welcome to Ryanair's customer service team.
Things you wouldn't hear on a science documentary.
Weren't D-Ream shit?
Unlikely things to hear on radio.
You're listening to Radio 3. Anyone? 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 Bueller? Bueller? Bueller! Yes!
I love any reference to Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I don't think that movie has aged particularly well, but there's just some classic scenes from it. So I love it. And I'm making a point here, although there's subtitles, I'm just trying to look up. As you might do at certain social events, you don't look down too much, you always look up. because I find subtitles bloody distracting. Even on foreign language films, much to the annoyance of the person I'm watching it with.
Next up on Radio 1, Nick Grimshaw. He's not very good, but he's only 28, so he definitely didn't get up to anything in the 1970s.
Unlikely things for a vet to say.
No, I'm afraid Timmy won't be coming out of hibernation soon, and that's because he's not actually a tortoise, he's a Freybentos pie. Mr. Johnson, you spoil that dog. Not only are you overfeeding him, but he's quite capable of licking his own balls.
Commercials that never made it to air.
Condoms, because if she'd sleep with you, she'd sleep with anyone. Maybe she's born with it, in which case I probably shouldn't take the piss. Lidl, because life didn't work out as you planned.
Unlikely things for a sports commentator to say.
And that's an unfortunate wardrobe malfunction for the Ukrainian women shot putter there as a bollock pops out. And Tiger Woods is going for his third hole of the afternoon. Surely by now he should have left the hotel.
Unlikely lines from a romantic novel.
Romeo, 5-5, Alpha Zulu Tango, Grey Skoda Octavia, last seen heading towards M6.
Things you wouldn't hear on a DIY show.
I'm Nick Knowles, and no matter how many DIY programmes I make, I'll never be as famous as my sister Beyoncé. This week, John from Peterborough successfully put a roll of wallpaper up himself, so we're taking him to hospital.
Things you won't hear at the World Cup.
And now our cameraman is going to pick out some of the plainer girls in the crowd. And that's a very soft tackle, as Pele hasn't taken his tablets yet.
Unlikely things to hear on a cookery programme.
No, I'm afraid those aren't bacon bits. I've just got a bit of eczema at the moment. We'd like to apologise for the misprint in this week's Radio Times. Paul Hollywood is, in fact, a massive cook.
Unlikely things to hear at the dentist.
Welcome to Dick Van Dyke, the dentist. I'm afraid it's worse than bad breath. You've got supercalifragilisticextreme-halitosis.
Very good.
No, don't worry. That's not the sound of the drill. It's just that my receptionist's a scouser. This is most unusual, madam. You don't seem to have any teeth at all. What's that? You here for a smear test? That's next door.
Okay, the next topic is...
Oh, my God. Oh, that's brutal.
Unlikely lines from a children's book.
You do not like green eggs and ham? Well, tough. This is a Weatherspoons. Spot wondered why he'd been placed into the sack with the brick. But either way, this was going to be the best trip to the canal ever.
Unlikely small ads.
For sale, engagement ring, never used, would suit heartless bitch. After leaving an abusive relationship, I'm looking for a fresh start. Contact Scotland. Correction. Last week's notice was mistakenly placed in the Men Seeking Men column, but actually, I am genuinely seeking someone to demolish my back entrance.
Unlikely lines from a superhero movie.
Oh, my God, there's a coach full of children about to fall off a bridge on the M40. Still, not to worry, I can take the M1 instead. Of all the mutants, Magneto was the hardest to deal with, as he was bipolar.
Unlikely lines from a romantic novel.
I want your breasts, your legs, your thighs. I'm on the phone to Nando's, love. What do you want? They gazed into each other's eyes, and their thoughts were so in tune. They both thought the exact same thing. You'll do. As Mr. Darcy kissed her neck, she flushed angrily. Get out! I'm having a shit!
Unlikely things to hear at an award show.
Sadly, he can't be with us tonight, so to collect the award on his behalf, Chief Inspector Harris of Operation Yewtree.
Unlikely film trailers.
All your favourite administrators are back in Human Resources 2. This time it's personnel.
Oh my God, this show is custom made for this guy. So he can just pull out these one-liners, but just some really clever stuff. He is good. This is definitely his genre.
It was a love story that crossed the species barrier. He was a man, she was a cow. Coming soon, Beef Encounter.
Things you wouldn't hear on the radio.
Travel news. A coachload of origami enthusiasts has broken down on the M1, and they're all currently sat on the hard shoulder making paper models of cars. Traffic is described as stationary. This is local radio. It's 4 a.m. and no one's listening. Let's play Say Something Racist Roulette.
Unlikely things to hear on a consumer programme.
Dear Anne, the other day I was changing my baby's nappy and he weed right in my face. Does this mean I can make a PPI claim? Critics say Botox is too expensive, but we spoke to 50 people who'd just paid for the treatment and none of them looked surprised. Are you a watchdog? I bought these pork scratchings, but they all taste a bit David Cameron-y.
Lines you wouldn't hear in a kid's film.
But why are we going this way, said Bilbo. Well, said Gandalf, we've got to find some way of stretching this shit to 3 films. Here comes Captain Hook, who turned to piracy after his benefits were stopped. Half grizzly bear and half buffalo. The Gruffalo was the biggest, scariest animal in the whole wood, until one day he got a job presenting Mock the Week.
Commercials that never made it to air.
Megabus, the only bus company endorsed by Dara O'Brien. Tesco penis extensions, because every little helps. Uncle Tom's rice, like Uncle Ben's, but a bit more racist.
Unlikely things to hear in
You know, I've
hospital.
got to say, I found out recently, this is a fucking random segue, but, and this shouldn't surprise me, Uncle Ben, there was no original guy called Ben who did rice back in the day. This is a completely fictitious brand that was made up. And I think the reason I saw it was the whole woke brigade was saying, well, there shouldn't be an old black guy being used to advertise rice called Uncle Ben, and off it went. But for some reason, I thought that maybe Uncle Ben's was an original brand, some guy called Ben, I don't know, 100 years ago, but I was just living in a completely different world when I realised that was not the case. And I found that most amusing. So, and I have Uncle Ben's rice all the bloody time as well.
And your cancer specialist today is Noel Edmonds.
Don't get that one.
The good news is your father is comfortable. In fact, I've been sitting on him all morning.
Unlikely film trailers.
Thanks to an unfortunate typo, it's the most one-sided action film ever. Allen versus Predator. 50 Shades of Grey. The heartwarming story of a vajazzler in an old folks' home. Harrison Ford is 73 and he's back in Indiana Jones and the Tricky Patch of Ice outside the post office.
Unlikely things to hear on a makeover show.
Mrs. Patterson says her downstairs is a little damp. Don't worry, Alan Titchmarsh has that effect on a lot of women your age. I showed this couple from Sussex a delightful little semi earlier and said if they touch it, I'll do up their house.
Things you'd never read in the Bible.
And after the Last Supper came the last argument about who had a starter. people who enjoyed this book also enjoyed the Quran and the Torah.
Lines you wouldn't hear in a James Bond film.
Ah, Mr. Bond. Welcome to this mandatory course on sexual harassment in the workplace.
Very good.
Mr. Bond, I have one question for you. Does this testicle look swollen? This is the easiest fight on top of a train I've ever had. Thank you, Southern Rail.
Unlikely things to hear on the radio.
Oh, me hip. Isn't it cold? Aren't the police younger than they used to be? You're listening to Sounds of the 70s. 3 dads, but who will get the kidney transplant? Welcome to Pick of the Pops. And now the shipping news. Your parcel has been dispatched.
Bad things to hear during a medical exam.
Oh.
And if I can just insert this end of the camera into your colon, and that should hold it steady while I take a selfie. Well, the bad news is you're going to have to take one of these tablets every day for the rest of your life. The really bad news is I'm only giving you 3.
Unlikely things for a continuity announcer to say.
Up next, The Walking Dead. Oh, sorry, Songs of Praise. Up next on Naked Attraction, a man who's going to spend the next 3 years telling his friends it was a lot colder than it looked in the studio. Next up, The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Oh, sorry, Robot Wars.
That's so true.
Is things a news reporter would never say.
Irma has been blowing all over the city for 2 days now. But enough about your mum. Here's the weather. It's now been 4 days since Piers Morgan went missing. The police have appealed for anyone with information on his whereabouts to please, please, please keep it to themselves.
Well, that's as I expected. Man, that show is really right up his alley. And I don't know if... I'm presuming that's the format for the whole show, but yeah, bloody good. And that he's right in his element. So thank you for everyone who suggested I revisit Mr. Delaney. That was not too bad at all. Thank you for that. Got lots more reactions coming up very soon. So thank you for all the likes and subscribes and all the emails. I love getting them no matter where you are in the world. Even if you're from Kenya, Dave, my man, love you. Thank you for that. Wherever you are in the world, stay safe. Take care. Cheers.